Okay.
All right. Hi, I'm Jan Little, and I'm very happy to make this speaker introduction. Our local league has had a tradition of offering topics about the environment at our spring Hot Topics programs. We have also participated in the Straight Scoop on Shale, a project of the State League's Citizen Education Fund. There is more information about shale in the special interest section of our website. One of the goals of the project is to educate the public about environmental impacts of plastics year-round by identifying speakers for local leagues. We can thank Heather Haar, the director of this project, for identifying our speaker for today. And we're very glad that Heather has joined us today. Our speaker today is Maame Mensah. She is the director of the brand partnerships at TerraCycle, an innovative waste management company with a mission to eliminate the idea of waste. As director, Maame oversees a team that manages a portfolio of more than 45 brand partners, including major consumer packaged goods conglomerates who run brand sponsor recycling programs through TerraCycle to make their packaging nationally recyclable. Over her 6-year tenure, Maame developed TerraCycle's shopper marketing process and has planned and executed over 32 national and regional retail campaigns with major retailers. Maame has led the installation and donation of over 25 recycled playgrounds, gardens, and furniture to schools and communities across the country. Maame graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a master's degree in environmental studies and is experienced in small business startup, corporate social responsibility, and renewable energy. Maame's mission is to help businesses reduce their impact on the environment and give back to the communities in which they do business. Maame is married with a 6-month-old baby, and she loves the environment, fashion, beauty, drawing, and traveling. She hopes to start an environmental nonprofit focused on environmental advocacy and launch an eco-conscious fashion line that empowers and provides income for women in Ghana. Please join me in welcoming Maame Mensah. Go take it away, Maame.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you also for the invitation. It was probably almost 2 years ago when Jan reached out, and I'm glad that we're finally able to meet, and I wish it was in person, but we'll make do with the virtual situation. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So jumping right in, TerraCycle is a global waste management company. Our core mission is to eliminate the idea of waste. And we do this in a couple different ways. One, we make products recyclable. We make things from recycled materials. We make things reusable, and we also innovate with the waste. So I will be walking you through a couple different business units at TerraCycle. We'll focus mostly on our brand partnerships division, which is my division, but we'll talk a little bit about the different ways that we're innovating with waste, and hopefully you'll have some key takeaways and find ways where you as an individual and citizen of this planet can also be an activist for the environment and be able to dispose of your waste properly and help us in our mission. So as I mentioned, TerraCycle is a global company. We manage a range of platforms in 22 countries across the globe. Our newest initiative, Loop, is expanding across a growing number of markets worldwide. So if you look at the map, the blue is where TerraCycle has Loop and our TerraCycle business. The green, light green areas are where we operate as just TerraCycle, and dark green is our TerraCycle Foundation. That is our newest unit and also a nonprofit arm of the company that's focused on helping people in the developing world clean up waterways of plastic. So in terms of the business equation of recycling, it's been suffering. And the reason is because there's been a reduction in the end markets and declining quality of packaging, which has been hurting the equation. 40% of end markets have stopped accepting plastics from recyclers. And so that's, driven some reduction in the cost, as well as the quality of the end value of packaging also declining. So just to kind of give you a little bit of sense of what I'm talking about is globally, oil prices, which directly drive the resulting material, have steadily declined over the past decade. So in the graph that you see, when you look at the the green line, you can see the city of Philadelphia back in 2012 was actually receiving about $67 per ton for the plastic waste that was being recycled, whereas now they actually have to pay $105 per ton. So it's becoming a bit more of a cost center for the recycling centers as opposed to a profit center. So we live in a linear economy, unfortunately, where we're extracting virgin material, creating products, and then the waste is going to landfill. And our goal at TerraCycle is to create a circular model. So the first business unit is really taking that product and instead of it going to a landfill, creating a new product. So giving it a second life, basically. And in terms of what makes something recyclable versus non-recyclable, it really comes down to economics. Most products are technically recyclable when the end value of the recycled material outweighs the costs and logistics of processing. And they're deemed not recyclable when that cost is more. So to the left of the Venn diagram, you can see products that you recycle curbside. And to the right, you see products that, you probably are throwing away, but you could actually send them to TerraCycle and they will be recycled. And the way that we're able to recycle those is our brand sponsored recycling programs, which are available to consumers nationally. So you can just go to the TerraCycle website, find a recycling program that you'd like to participate in, depending on the type of waste stream, and send it in. And it's completely free because it is sponsored by the brands that make these products. So we're talking about the business equation, and while there's the cost to logistics and processing, which make the cost of the non-recyclable items significant. Our brand partners are able to fund this, and we as a company, and our brand partnerships team per se, works with our brand partners to create return on their investment, to make it kind of a win-win for them. A win because we're able to divert waste from landfill and provide a recycling solution for consumers, and a win for the brand because they're also able to reduce their impact on the environment and also, have some positive return. So in terms of the return on investment, we do that a couple of different ways for our brand partners. One, through sustainability and corporate social responsibility. So we're able to make the products nationally recyclable. We're able to support the brand to engage their employees, engage the communities in which they work with, in the recycling programs, doing like a number of different activations or support on campaigns. We also have marketing and PR support to help increase the participation in the recycling programs and engage consumers to recycle more and participate. And then we also have the sales and shopper wins, and that's really taking the recycling program and leveraging retail partnerships along with our brand to bring the recycling program to retail, where consumers are able to, engage and learn about the, our programs, as well as, participate in activations that earn them some sort of incentive. So in terms of our solution, it's kind of three-part. The first step is to collect. So we engage a number of consumers across the country in collecting the non-recyclable products, which they're able to do free of charge. They collect this waste at, different locations. Could be an individual household, could be a church, a business, an office, anywhere pretty much. And that person engages their network to recycle the waste, and then they send it in by shipping it to us. And then once we receive it, we're able to take that waste, sort and process it, and then use it to make some different plastic formats. So we work with a number of processing partners and manufacturing partners to make sure that plastic waste is going into new formats and into new products. And then the third part is return on investment. And that's by working with our brand partners to drive that. So everything can go circular. And these are, I'm going to be walking you through a couple of different examples of how we do that. So this is a simple example of just taking, an old margarine tub and, making it, repurposing it as a planter. This is an example of how we partnered with Target to take their plastic bags that consumers basically recycled through us, and we made tote bags. So basically gave new life to the plastic. This is a more fun example of how we repurpose waste. So our design team, which is completely amazing, made this upcycled blazer that Mr. Colbert was wearing. So that's like a fun example. This is an example of taking Frito-Lay recycled chip bags and turning that into new plastic that was used in some of the delivery vans that were used during one of the Super Bowls. When you look at something like a cigarette butt, which most people wouldn't know is recyclable, but it is, we actually have a program for that. You can turn a cigarette butt into, plastic crate, bench, ashtray, pretty much any plastic that is non-food grade. And this is an example how we collect the cigarette butts. So our strategic partnerships team works with municipalities across the country to provide these, what they call butt bins that are placed in cities, and people are able to recycle their cigarette butts through them. This is a gym made with Bright Guard material that was in Europe. So just one example of how you can take waste and turn it into something new. This is one of the first playgrounds that we made with Old Navy, in partnership with Old Navy, taking flip-flops and using that to make a recycled playground. So in terms of in-store collections, a number of our brand partners also offer in-store solutions. So separate from participating in our program where you can go to our website, download a free shipping label and send in your waste, you could also go to your local store, depending on the brand, to recycle in the store. And so Body Shop has like branded boxes that are available for consumers to send in their waste. We also do that with Kiehl's. Wash and Lom also supports the BioTrue recycling program for contact lenses. So you can actually recycle any brand of contact lens packaging through this program, also available on our website, or you can go to a participating optometrist to drop off your waste. So program that we're really proud of. And you might have heard of our Target program, if you've ever heard of the Take Back program for Target, where people are able to recycle their car seats. That's an area that we also partnered with Target and Walmart as well. Now, this is one of our more fun examples of collection receptacles. It's actually a smart bin that is in Amsterdam that we partnered with P&G for Pampers. And so consumers were able to enter a code and then be able to open up the bin and then recycle their dirty diapers, which we then would recycle and repurpose. So this is another example. And I mean, really, like, I think this is one of the goals is, you know, working with different retailers and the brands to create like permanent in-store collection units so that it's a lot easier for consumers to have access to recycling. And it also helps with aggregating the waste so that the shipments are a lot more efficient. This is another example. This is in the UK with Asda, where they're, you know, basically providing a number of different units to recycle various products. Some of the more fun ways that we use like recycling bins. So this is a more what we call a gamified bin. So here we're gamifying recycling and making consumers, you know, have more fun when they're recycling, because it's a little boring to drop it in a regular bin, but we have bins that can actually compliment you when you recycle. This is an example of a bin that people use to vote. So basically it was at a soccer tournament in Europe. Consumers were able to recycle their bottles or cans, picking whichever team that they thought was going to win. And, you know, that just kind of makes it a little bit more fun for people to recycle. We also partner with PepsiCo to engage schools in their recycling initiative, which is for K through 12 schools, and basically provides a lot of resources and educational materials around recycling. And yeah, these are some Colgate collectors collecting oral care. This is from Australia, but we do the same thing here in the US. We're actually a partner with Colgate in 5 markets across the world. And this is an example of a display that we had in partnership with Colgate and CVS. And this was really a contest to get people to recycle their oral care. And the state that recycled the most won a recycled playground for a local children's hospital. So we were excited to run that with CVS and look forward to more of those partnerships. And here's an example of one of our Colgate ShopRite playgrounds. This year, we've actually switched up the recycled prize to be recycled desks and chairs made from oral care waste, as well as upcycled school supplies. So we're really trying to find new ways and to engage the consumers that are working in the program and, you know, helping us collect all the waste and divert it, and giving them a way to get some sort of incentive participation. So this example is from the Global Foundation, basically helping waste pickers in the developing world who kind of do the work of, you know, picking through waste to find like useful things that can be reused and selling it. But a lot of them are not supported with the right gear. It's not very safe. And so the foundation basically works with these waste pickers in the developing world to provide safety gear and really kind of formalize the job of, doing the waste picking and supporting them to collect more and be more efficient. So that's something that we've been partnered with. PepsiCo Foundation has been funding that. So really an exciting part of our company that's slowly growing. So we were talking about recycling, and the other way that we are able to eliminate waste is by making it from recycled materials. So really going circular and, being part of like the circular economy. This is probably like the best case scenario. And this is an example we did with P&G with herbal essences, basically taking ocean plastic to make new recycled shampoo bottles. So again, like where most recycled content comes from today is from municipally sourced beverage containers, because they have a lot, like they perform a lot more like virgin counterparts. But we have been working in parallel with people to collect these waste streams that are ending up, on beaches, in the ocean, at sporting events, all over. There's plastic waste all over. And so we've partnered with nonprofits and groups to engage them to recycle and collect and recycle this and send it to us so that we can take the ocean plastic or water stream plastic and basically turn it into new products. So that's kind of how we innovated with P&G to produce the first recycled shampoo bottle made from beach plastic. So we got the waste from the volunteers, it was sorted, TerraCycle, and then sent for cleaning and grinding into pellets. And then the pellets were then sent to P&G to be turned into this shampoo bottle that you see there. So that was definitely one of our really exciting times. A couple of years ago is when this was introduced, but we've definitely been partnering with other brands to do the same thing. So we've also worked with Ren Skincare to integrate ocean plastic into its Atlantic kelp line. We've also in Korea partnered with a brand called Sekise to create shopping baskets that are made from ocean plastic. So another very exciting innovation. Again, we've got waste here, and we've talked about, creating that circular economy. And the final piece is our loop model, which is kind of going back to the product itself and the packaging and taking it from a single-use plastic to a multi-use plastic. So Loop's purpose is also to eliminate the idea of waste, similar to how our business unit functions. And we've basically partnered with our brands to kind of challenge them to, take into account the design of their packaging and really rethink what that design is and what the packaging is made from, and getting it to a point where it's a reusable package. This was actually announced at the World Economic Forum so a couple of years ago, and since then the Loop platform has really been growing. It's really exciting to see. It's now a global platform for reuse, where basically any manufacturer can create reusable products that any retailer can make available to consumers. And the goal is to really make it easy, convenient, and affordable, and allow consumers to buy anywhere and return anywhere. So this map just kind of shows some of the new launches that we're planning. I won't get too much into it, but really we're taking wisdom from the past, where we had the milkman model, where the milk bottle was an asset, and packaging was considered an asset, and allocation per fill of the cost was divided by the number of uses it could bear. So the more durable the packaging, the lower the cost per fill. And our current reality is, disposability. It's cheap, it's convenient, it's easy. This was like back in the 1950s when it was cool to, buy disposable products and, use it once and be done, because it was a lot more easy for families to dispose of things. But we really want to take some of the learnings from the past and apply it to now, because when you look at, the product packaging, manufacturers reduce the weight of the packaging to save costs. And in the process, the recycling rates of consumer delight have deteriorated. So when you look at the scale and you're looking at the glass and the pouch, it's which one would you rather use? And most people would rather use glass, but that's not really the reality. And so our goal is to basically take manufacturing and work with the manufacturers and to produce packaging that is going to be reusable. So how do we solve the unintended consequences of disposability while maintaining its virtues? Basically, Loop fundamentally changes the ownership of the packaging. So where, taking Häagen-Dazs ice cream, for instance, which is one of our Loop partners, there's, the cost of goods sold to the brand. You're looking at your regular little pint. And by increasing consumer delight, you create an asset to the brand that has more than 100 uses. By partnering with us and really challenging their design and packaging team, they redesigned this pint to make it solve most of the issues that consumers had with their pint. The pint is made from from steel. It's also been built in such a way that ice cream can stay in it for 8 hours outside of the freezer. So you're able to provide the consumer with even more benefits to having the reusable packaging. So basically the durability enables the reusability, design, and new features like I was mentioning. And these are a couple of examples that I'll just kind of page through, but you've got Tide as one example using their Pure Clean. And obviously you can see this is not a plastic container, but brushed metal so that it can be used multiple times. We've got wipes. And the idea with this is really creating a design that is not only durable, but aesthetically pleasing. So, I mean, it's sitting on the counter and it looks a lot nicer than your average, container of Cascade or cardboard. Here's an example with 7th generation dish liquid, dishwashing material. This is an example of a yogurt from Europe. Everybody's familiar with Heinz ketchup and those bottles. Evian, Coca-Cola. Just go through. Pantene. This is one example of, I guess, the first iteration of their new packaging, but the goal is to get it to this. So as you can see, just a bunch of different examples. So really moving from single use to multi-use packaging. And the two steps that Loop really works with is working with the brand and helping them to move from single to reusable packaging, working on the design and everything. And then step two is to work with our brand partners to distribute the new product through a Loop retailer or direct to consumer site. So these are a couple examples that we have live. This is in France. This is a live example, which we will be replicating in other retailers, also in the US. But this is a France example that's live. This is the return area where you basically return your used packaging. We launched with Loblaws in Canada recently. So that was a big launch. We already launched in the US as well. We also launched in Ulta. So in the store, I think you can actually go online and purchase products from Ulta that are Loop. And then we'll be launching with Kroger in Q3. And then Walgreens also in Q3, there'll be sections for Loop products. And then these are just a couple interesting things that we are planning. So we'll be partnering with McDonald's, Burger King, and Tim Hortons to make some reusable packaging, which is really a fun innovation and really taking it one step further. So what can you do? There's a couple different things. I thought I'd just cover the 5 R's of zero waste, if you're not already aware of them. So one is to refuse. So learn to say no to single-use plastic, say no to straws, say no to items that will immediately go to landfill and stay there permanently, reduce the impulse to buy if you don't need it, reuse as much as possible where it makes sense, and try and say no to disposables, and recycle. So if you have to buy it, you have to use it, please make sure you're recycling it and also composting as well. And you can create your own zero waste kit by collecting a bunch of reusable items. And so really what I'd like to challenge you to do is to help us create a paradigm shift. Simple, when you buy something, it's your responsibility to dispose of it properly. So whether that's recycling it or reusing it or sending it back to TerraCycle, help us continue to eliminate waste. And just a couple places that you can go. You can go to TerraCycle.com. You can go to the PA Department of Environmental Protection to learn more about statewide and municipal recycling, what you can and cannot recycle through your municipality. And then for K through 12 educational resources to inspire recycling, you can visit the Recycle Rally program page, which is very helpful for educating the youth on recycling. And now I'd love to hear any questions.
Okay. How do we handle this, Terry? Do you start with the ones that have been written down, or how do we handle this?
We usually just call on people with their hands up.
Okay. All right. I'm looking for raised hands.
So Kathy has her hand up.
All right. Thank you. Go, Kathy.
Yeah. Hi. Well, I have multiple questions. One thing, I bought some chips at Giant late July, and it says TerraCycle recycle, but there isn't really a place to recycle specifically in this area. So how do you recycle things that you buy, and you can, what do you do with them? And
yeah, so If it's got the TerraCycle logo on it, or it says like, you can recycle through TerraCycle, you can just go to our website and create an account, and then you can join the late July recycling program and then download a label to send in your waste.
But I mean, like I buy these things like once in a blue moon. I mean, it's, that's the problem, that like individual products, you're not buying quantities of them. It would take me forever to fill up a bin of some things.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as you aggregate like, a couple bags and send it in, that's totally fine. I mean, we'd rather you send it to us than, dump it in the bin. We also, for some of our programs, have like public drop-off locations. So if you go to the program page, if there's like a map, you can put your zip code in and find a local location that might be accepting the waste stream.
We also have quite a few people have written questions through how do we handle that? I sent a couple to you directly, but many people sent their questions to everyone. How can we manage that? Because some people, they may want to be answered. Terry, how do we handle that? Do we just go to it and read it out loud, or?
Sure, that's fine.
And Ken Baumert had his hand up.
Yes, go ahead, Ken. Of course.
Got a question about contamination, and how do you deal with it? For example, if a guy has a mayonnaise jar that isn't quite clean and you recycle it, what do you do with that?
So our company does the non-recyclable. So we wouldn't be taking like a mayonnaise container. But I believe when it goes to the municipal, curbside recycling center, the waste usually gets sorted, and then it's cleaned, and then it's sent for processing.
Okay.
So I would imagine it's like the same process. Like when we get it, it's sorted, and then it's washed, cleaned, and then sent over to our waste, processing partners for like them to like grind it and process it into pellets.
Okay.
Jan, do you want me to read the questions for you?
Let's do that. Yes, please do.
So
Top down.
Julie asked, are there any loops that are economically viable without charitable foundation support? If so, which product loops are those?
Any loops? I'm not sure I understand the question.
That loop idea you had, the loop economy, or you were describing later on.
Yeah, the Loop platform is basically sponsored, well, not sponsored by the brands, but it's basically an online platform where you can purchase the products. There's a little bit, you pay a deposit for the packaging, but when you return the packaging after you're done using it, you get that back. It's slightly more expensive than if you bought like the disposable product in the store. But yeah, when you take into account the environmental benefits, if that's something that you care about, then it's kind of like a win-win. It's worth, the investment.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure if that answered the question.
Julie, is that answer acceptable? Do you have any more definition that you need to ask, Maame?
Sure, thank you. What I thought I heard you say was that some of the initiatives rely on foundation support where you have donors that are helping to subsidize the cost of the program. So I was just wondering if any of the programs are economically sustainable without donations to support them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So with our brand partnerships, the sponsored waste programs, which are like our national recycling programs, yeah, we are limited by the brands that fund the programs and are sponsoring. So without them sponsoring the program, it's not something that we'd be able to run. The foundation also works a little different, but the foundation, we're able to do that work with the sponsorship of the PepsiCo Foundation. But when we're talking about the national recycling programs here in the US or even abroad, yes, we do need the sponsorship of the brands that are making the products to run the programs.
So we can't send you just anything. We have to pick through our plasticware and make sure it's a brand that's in a partnership with you.
Yes, yes. So if you go to the website, you'll see a number of different recycling programs. Some of them do solve for the whole category. So Colgate, for example, solves for oral care waste, all oral care waste. So you can send in any brand of oral care. Tom's of Maine sponsors the natural care recycling program. So that's like any natural care, personal care, or oral care that you can send in. And there's some others. So there's some that collect everything and there's some that are brand specific.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. I did write this. The frozen vegetable industry has moved to packaging that can be used in a microwave oven. This is something that Heather Har and all of us talked about during our monthly calls. Any initiative to change that trend? Because once people use the, cook their peas, that's it. So how can that trend be reversed or used in your paradigm?
I guess that, the microwavable containers are usually curbside recyclable. So yeah, but I would probably encourage people not to buy things that are not if it's not curbside recyclable, or if there's like maybe compostable packaging that is used to package the fruits and vegetables, that's always like a better option. But yeah, I guess there's not too much we can do if they're using that to package things. We also have our zero waste box department. They basically provide recycling solutions for anything that we don't have like a national recycling program for. But that is basically prepaid recycling. So it's consumer funded. So if you want to recycle break room waste, like, coffee stir straws, or you want to recycle your bathroom waste that maybe doesn't necessarily have like a recycling program, you can buy a zero waste box to recycle that. And that the purchase of that box basically covers your the shipping to you, the recycling costs, and shipping back to TerraCycle.
Okay, all right. Here's one from Heather Har. Are there any people employed as waste pickers in the United States?
No, not in the US. This is something that is more unique to the developing countries, just because it's like it's like a source of income for some people. And so it's done very informally, like, if you've seen in India or any examples, there's like kids and young people like on top of heaps of garbage, just picking through to find like electronics and, things that are valuable. So yeah, it's important that the governments, as well as nonprofits, kind of support people to do this work, because it is important work. But they're not typically like funded or supported, and so that's why we have the foundation to help with that.
Oh no, I believe it. I do know we have waste pickers in this country, but I hear what you're saying. That's how you're structured. All right. Well, thank you for that. We have another question from Kathy Stagel. Can products made from recycled materials be recycled again? Which I think you have touched upon that. But products made from recycled materials, like there's
So something that's made from recycled materials, yes, could be recycled again, depending on the number plastic. And yeah, and then it'll probably go through like another processing stream and then turned into something again. So yeah, it's important to recycle because that recycled plastic is being used in different applications, even though like it might not be, like a water bottle might not be a water bottle in like a couple, after a couple of times of, you know, being recycled, but it'll definitely go into something else. So.
Okay. Thank you. Any other, I'm looking at the people now, any other raised hands?
Mary Erdman has a raised hand.
Okay, Mary, take it away.
Yeah, I have a question for you. I noticed that at the end of your presentation, you listed the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection as a reference. Are there any advocacy programs that have been started to try to encourage the states to update their recycling policy so that states are doing some of the work that you're talking about?
Yeah, none that I know of, but like I think that's also because I've been my head has been down in just the non-recyclable world, so I'm not as up to date on traditional recycling, but yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see. I'm sure there must be some advocacy groups that are in touch with the Department of Environment, but not quite sure.
Okay.
Good question, Mary. We always question, you know, some of our existing departments in government, don't we?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Because I think we want to start wrapping it up. We
I
have
have
some.
my hand raised in the participants.
Okay, go ahead.
So in terms of waste pickers, I know that there are recycling facilities where recycling is sorted, but you know, different municipalities have different rules and about, you know, some say you can do anything up to 7 plastics and others say only 1, but it has to be milk bottles and soda bottles. It's very difficult for the consumer. I mean, I see people throw all kinds of stuff in their recycle bins. So in some ways we don't need waste pickers because theoretically they're being sorted at a recycling thing, but how in the world are we supposed to deal with this? I mean, it all gets in, the glass gets all broken up and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way is just to look at your like local municipality and like what's accepted there, and recycle whatever, you know, is accepted through your local municipality so that you're not contaminating the waste stream.
Yeah. From what I'm hearing too, it sounds like you, all of us have to kind of think in terms of, like you showed right away, first of all, what is accepted locally, and then kind of think of, look at what's left and go, well, how much of this could we send to TerraCycle? And then the rest, well, do our best, you know, kind of divide it up in these sets of a waste in order to decide what to do with it, if anything can be done. But I think what you've done today is you've certainly shown us a whole world that we may not have been aware of what to do with these recycled. They sounds very sophisticated. So I really appreciate what you're sharing with us. And I think all of us who are interested could peruse your website and look at those materials, especially in the spring. Anything else? I hear somebody.
Heather has a question.
Okay, Heather. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to take you over time or anything, but this is fascinating and it's wonderful. And I just wonder how we could get local supermarkets in the areas where leagues are, you know, to participate in these kind of programs, whether with TerraCycle or I don't know if there are other companies that do the same kind of thing, but so that you know, you said it's up to you to be responsible for your waste, but really like the producers too and the places we buy from should be we should be able to bring back more than just plastic bags. You know, that's a good start, but
Yeah.
So like all the examples you showed. So how do we encourage like local supermarket chains to participate in something?
I think definitely being vocal to the, the store management that like, you'd value them having, collection locations within the store, like outside the store. It's definitely something that our team has been working on with a number of different sustainability leadership at the retailers. So our goal is to try and get them to do as many permanent in-store recycling boxes so that people can just recycle in the store, like you mentioned. Either whether it's in partnership with TerraCycle or just providing like that local recycling, solution for like the basic plastics and bottles and cans. But it's a work in progress. So hopefully more stores will, adopt that and start providing those solutions. But yeah, until then, what we do is like basically kind of push the brands to sponsor the programs, because they're basically sponsoring the waste that they're putting out there and, just taking responsibility for that. So yeah,
I think that word, I think that key word responsibility is a big one, and maybe we can replicate ourselves, as Heather brought up, other areas where we just have to think and connect with people who do work in that way, to connect with stores. Another one is gym chains, like Planet Fitness. Those sometimes they don't even recycle at all, and people bring in their disposable bottles of water and drink and just toss it. So just if you think in terms of systems, and supermarkets are one, gyms are another, other places where there's a corporate office somewhere, very often. It's hard for one single gym to survive. So very often they are corporations. Maybe just, not just, but start in thinking in those terms and who to call and who to talk to and how to present it to them. Thinking in the way you do might be one way of approaching a corporate office. We do need to wrap it up, guys. I think I'll turn this over to Molly, if you want to go on to what you were going to share.
Well, if we want, I can.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jan. And thank you, Maame, for such an informative program. I have a number of events to make you aware of. The annual meeting will be virtual and is scheduled for Saturday, May 22nd at 10 a.m. We're making it earlier today instead of our traditional lunch. It will be Zoom. There are a number of items which will need membership approval, and that's bylaw changes, the upcoming budget, local program and positions. And by the way, some of you already know we have a position on waste, and then nominating ballot. And per our bylaws, I'll be sending out these written documents to you 30 days before the annual meeting. But I wanted to let you know to please plan to attend. Your vote is important. The voter's guide will be published in the morning call on Thursday, April 29th. The candidate information is also available on 411. Vote 411. And this is an important issue. The municipal elections often aren't well covered, and our guide is very much appreciated in this election. Michelle Grotner has done an excellent job on compiling the information, and the Barkers, Donna and Charlie, will be handling distribution. We don't know how many extra copies the morning call will print for us to distribute. So we don't know that we may not need help with this like we used to do in the past. Our league, through the leadership of Mary Erdman, is participating in a number of statewide initiatives to highlight fair voting. A day of action is scheduled for Thursday, April 29th. And at noon, there will be a program at the Liberty Bell Museum in Allentown. And at 3:30, there will be a program at Steel Stacks. Mary would like as many members to support this as possible. More information will be sent out. And I was going to ask Mary, did you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, just really quick. There's a symbolic ringing of the Liberty Bell at the Liberty Bell Museum. House Bill 22 is what's going to open up the redistricting process. So we thought to get 22 people to ring the bell would be symbolic. But then we're going over to Arts Quest building at Steel Stacks, and the Fair Districts and the League of Women Voters are going to honor two legislators who for over 15 years each have been working on redistricting reform, and that's Senator Lisa Boscola and Representative Steve Samuelson. Molly will be presenting a proclamation to them, or commendation to them for their work, and Fair Districts will be giving them an actual award. So it'd be really nice to have some people there at Steel Stacks. It's very easy to social distance and wear your mask. If it's a nice day, it'll be outside, but it is our day of action, just like last February 14th was our day of action, the 100th anniversary. This is our annual day of action. So let's see how many we can get out there at 3:30 at Arts Quest to honor these legislators who have been fighting the fight that we've been fighting for about 5 or 6 years. They've been doing it 3 times as long. So it would be nice to see many of us out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mary. I guess if there's nothing else, we appreciate all of you joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Maame.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
And Maame, I'm going to share this with, I'm from Pittsburgh, so I'm going to share this with other leagues, share a link to the recording of this. So the idea more people can learn about the great things that you and TerraCycle do.
And the recording
Thank
will
you.
be posted. I'm sorry, I cut in there. The recording will be posted on our league's YouTube channel within the next couple of days. Terry will post that if you would like to look for it there, the recording.
Great. Yeah, if you could just send me information about where that is. So
Sure.
thanks.
You bet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Care.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Thanks,
Mom.
everybody. Nice to meet you all.
Oh, good to see you again, Heather. Bye, Heather. Bye,
Bye.
and Maame. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jan.